is your mental in the back with my everything. A minute after 10 in the second hour of the mid-morning. Time for Wiley the Board series. Now, for my first-time listeners, Wiley the Board series is YFM's innovative radio programming, content to develop the youth and provide inspiration to our listeners. Stats reveal that Ghana's population is young, with about 61% being 30 years and below. The International Labour Organization, ILO's Youth and the Future of Work survey shows that about one-third of the youth in emerging and developing countries view their future work life with fear and uncertainty. YFM is Ghana's #1 youth and urban station. We have year-on-year dominance in radio program according to the Geopoll. And we therefore deem it a responsibility to add to the bouquet of creative and informative content on our station by hosting leaders and achievers in various sectors and industries in Ghana and beyond to bring hope, meaning development and leadership coaching tips to vibrant listeners. Follow us on social media and across our digital platforms. We are here for Wiley the Board series. Get seated. Get in the conversation. Join in the conversation with the hashtag Wiley the Board series on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. On straight to business. It is said that a woman who walks in purpose doesn't have to chase people or opportunity. Her light causes people an opportunity to pursue her. This certainly sums up the story of our guest on Wiley the Board series today. Now, let me break it down for you guys. For the people who are listing achievements, as always, appointed as the managing director of Barclays Bank in Ghana. In November 2013, she joined Barclays as finance director in November 2008 and became a member of the board in March 2010. Prior to joining Barclays, she was a chief financial officer, CFO of Standard Chartered Bank, South Africa, and was based in Johannesburg. She previously worked in Standard Chartered Bank, Ghana, in senior roles in both finance and corporate banking departments. She has about 20 years in in-depth experience in finance, accounting, and audit, as well as credit. On her watch, Barclays Bank Ghana Limited was named Best Bank in Ghana, Euromoney 2014 Excellence Award, Best Domestic Cash Management House in Ghana, Euromoney Cash Management 2014 Survey, and Best Investment Bank in Ghana. EMEA Finance Africa Banking Awards 2014 as well. It was also featured by Euromoney in May 2014 edition as one of Africa's top rising stars. Most recently, she was specially recognized at the 2020 Ghana Insurance Awards as Woman of Excellence for the year, as well as Standing Group CEO of the year 2019 Ghana Entrepreneur and Corporate Executive Awards. She was also among the 100 most reputable Africans 2018 at the Reputation poll, together with the renowned leaders like Rwanda, Paul Kagame, South Africa's Cyril Ramaphosa, Ghana's pastor, and so Zimbabwe's prime Siwa. I got it right. She's a member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants, Ghana, and an honorary member of the Ghana Institute of Directors. Also sits on the board of EcoBank Ghana Limited and advisory committee of the Ghana Infrastructure and Investment Fund, and a founding member of the Executive Women's Side Network. My people, we have a special person in the building. She's a leader. Mrs. Patience Achianu, Chief Executive Officer of the Hollard Group in Ghana. She is the director of both boards, Hollard Insurance Ghana General Insurance, Hollard Life Insurance. First and foremost, thank you so much for joining us, Patience, on the Wiley the Board series today. It's good to have you around. This doesn't look like something you do on the regular. Yeah. And so we're pleased and honored to have you here. On behalf of Global Media Alliance, YFM, thank you so much for joining us today.
It's a pleasure.
We believe by the end of the show, lives will be touched. I mean, people will be motivated to move on with their lives, to pick up from wherever they are and then move on. The basic point behind Leaderboard series is to come here and inspire people with your life story. So today I want to hear it all. Break it down into bits so that people can know who Madam Patience Achianu is and how far you've come. We're obviously going to start off with your genesis, the beginning of your life. I mean, give us a clear picture of how your formative years were like and where you spent most of it. I mean, the kind of family you grew up in and all that.
Okay. Good morning, and thank you for honoring me with this invitation. And let me commend you for the great work you and the team here are doing. Well done for impacting the youth of Ghana so significantly. So to go back to my very early years, I'm actually one of 3 girls born to my dad, Mr. Wisdom Cosina, who used to be head of test administration in WAEC very long ago.
Okay.
You know WAEC, right?
WAEC.
West Africa Examination Council. And we lost our mom when we were very young.
Wow,
So when I
sorry.
was about 8. So we grew up just with, our dad. And later on, my dad lost his brother, so he had to take on his children, his brother's children, to look after them as well. So they were 3 boys, and he added them to us. And we were always many in the house because my dad was a teacher.
Okay.
And so everyone looked up to him from his family. So you can imagine that our home was always filled with people passing through. He educated quite a lot of people. And we grew up as people of faith. My daddy was a very strong Christian.
Okay.
And a man of faith. So my recollections, several times saw him praying. And so faith was instilled in me from the very beginning. And he also invested a lot in our education.
Great.
I mean, everything I am right now, I owe actually to my
him.
dad. Because he didn't make it look like, as a woman, you deserve less. I never, until, let me be very honest with you, until recently, when people ask me, so how was it like growing up? Were you discriminated against, etc.? I never knew that, people, other families, had,
Discriminated against you.
yes, had, challenges of discrimination against the girl child, where maybe they will prefer to invest in the boy and
boy
say,
child
you
instead
will.
of the-
I never knew. Because
Wow.
that didn't even come up in my household. My dad pushed all of us, to excel. And he had pride. He took pride in our shining in school, So I was really very motivated to do well,
Wow.
in school. But he was strict and stern as well. I mean, it was a typical austere everyman. So
And a WAEC man. WAEC
yes, so yeah, he was stern actually, and but having so much responsibility and looking after so many people also stressed him. So he was most of the time stressed, and so it wasn't always pleasant, to stay with him. So going to school, I actually looked forward to going to boarding school when I started.
to get away.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It must have been that strict.
No, he was strict actually. But looking back, I think it all helped to form me into the disciplined person I am right
Wow,
now.
today.
Yes.
You mentioned school. Let's touch on that. What kind of students were you back in school?
I was actually a great student in
Okay.
terms of academics.
Okay.
From the primary level, I recall, always being either first or second. And taking pride in it. One of my earliest memories was when I was first, and then when it came to the speech and prize giving day, for some strange reason, how they give prize to first, second, third,
Yeah.
and they will call you, they'll say this, the third prize goes to this, the second prize goes to that, and the first, And for some strange reason, they gave me the third prize
Wow.
instead of the first prize, and gave the third person the first prize.
And you demonstrated.
I was mad, But so was my dad, because he was
yeah.
very supportive of us. So he really took them on.
You got the bronze instead of the gold.
I know.
Wow.
Can you imagine? After all my hard
Yeah.
work. But that was it. Yeah.
Okay. Now, what were some of the things you loved doing as a kid? I mean, you mentioned that you picked a lot of influence from your dad, prayer-wise, your Christian life and that. But then, what were the personal things you loved doing? Did you play sports along the line? Were you always with your books?
Okay, so I read a lot. I
Okay.
liked storybooks, so I read a lot of storybooks. I'm an avid reader. And I tried to run. I was slim and small, so obviously people thought, I should be a 100-meter dash runner. But I flopped terribly.
It wasn't your thing.
I remember in school, in Wesley Girls, they pushed me without training.
Uh-huh.
Can you imagine? They were looking for people that, you go. So they pushed me and I went to run a relay, 100-meter relay. Oh, we all lost.
You came back telling them, I told you guys I can't do it. I mean, They believe so much in you. Wow.
So, yeah.
Let's talk about your days at Wesley Girls. I mean, since you've mentioned it, how immersive was the experience for you, and any fond memories of your days out there, things that have stayed with you till date?
Yeah, no, I think it was a great experience. And as I mentioned earlier, I actually looked forward to
Going to boarding
school and all that. And my first 3 years, actually, I kind of took a break from the academics because, we did common entrance, and my dad was a teacher, I told you, so he taught me. I was always learning. He really wanted me to go to Wesley Girls and get very high marks, so he really taught me, and I was always learning. I had no playtime, And so when I finally got my dream of entering Wesley Girls, I personally thought it was time for a break. So the first year, you won't believe this, I didn't even write notes.
Why?
Because I was reading Mills and Boone, like in there, when they are teaching, then I had books under the table and I'll be reading, So that exam, how I was hot, I had no notes. My textbooks, I don't even know where they were. And I remember I went to steal some of my friend Rhoda's textbook, and I was learning it.
Is Rhoda listening?
She found me out. She charged and grabbed the book from me, So I was like, first year I didn't do in Form 1, Form 2. That was when I woke up a bit. That one I wrote notes, but I didn't study the notes. So Form 2, I struggled a bit. Form 3, I started maturing and realizing that, look, this thing, I'll be hot if... So I started learning a bit, but I didn't. And you know what? For me, how at a certain point, our academic curriculum is very strict. It's like you're either arts or...
You're doing the sciences.
You are doing the science, yes. So they cut it. I think it's very unforgiving. And I take issue with that kind of approach to education. Because you see, as I've described, some of us mature later.
Yes.
A lot of people are not serious at the beginning. So if you cut children off early on in Form 3 and say you are either categorize them to either arts or science.
Business or science.
Or business. You'll be doing a great disservice to people with high potential who could have actually become something else. But having said that, I also believe in destiny, that nobody can stop your destiny.
That's true.
Because see what happened. In Form 3, there was that usual categorization. I was very good in chemistry and math.
Okay.
But I realized later, after they had crossed there, and so what happened was I was chosen to do science, but without add math. Because at the time you had to get a certain mark, and I didn't. But my dad believed strongly that I could do science with add math. So after we had done the O level, he enrolled me to do add math NovDec.
On the side.
November, December, And of course, I proved him right. I got 1, which is like in add math as well. But because I didn't do in Wesley Girls, they didn't make me do sixth form, science, which was fine. So I had to do, I did economics, history, etc. And I went on to School of Admin. And I mean, the rest is history, So the point I'm trying to make, sometimes the challenges that come our way, are actually a step into our destiny. Because I wanted, and because I knew I was sharp, I wanted to be a science student, but maybe that wasn't my destiny, Yeah. So my point is sometimes challenges actually open the door to where God wants you to be.
They're a necessity when it comes to, finding your right path in life, basically.
Indeed.
Great. You wanted to be a science student, going to school, but then growing up, what was the career path you wanted to choose? I mean, beyond being a science student, where did you see yourself going to? Around that age?
No, I think, frankly, I really, most of us were directionless, really. Okay. We just studied and tried to excel, in whatever area we found ourselves. I don't think, at a point I wanted to be an air hostess. You know how you feel that, people travel up and down, you want to do the same and all that, And then I said, okay, let me be a lawyer because I can argue my case, etc. So these were just, I really had no firm ambitions, that early.
Wow.
Yeah.
And we're here. I mean, we're here. We're about to talk about how you got to where we are now. But you eventually emerged with a BSc in Business Admin First Class Honors and an MBA Finance, all from the University of Ghana. What really fueled your ambition to pursue finance, along the line? Because you mentioned that you were so keen on getting into the sciences. And then when you got to uni, you switched.
Yeah.
What inspired the switch, first and foremost? How was the transition like for you?
I think one thing was very clear, that I was very quantitative, because I was very good in anything that had to do with figures, etc. So even though I didn't go on to do science or math, whatever I chose had to have a strong, science foundation, a requirement, or a strong math, foundation. And so finance was the closest, really. And I actually, at first degree, majored in accounting as well. So anything to do with figures, anything quantitative, with a quantitative bias, was something that drew me, to it. And then also, finance was a cool thing. I mean, MBA finance is highly sought after. Whatever I do, I try to aim for the best there, because I kind of find joy, and pride in aspiring for the highest attainable anything, wherever I am.
You challenge yourself.
I challenge myself, yes. So everyone wants to do MBA finance, and it's people with the highest grades that are actually admitted into it. So, yeah.
Before you got into the deeps in your tertiary education, I mean, it was a trial thing you were doing. Was that super supportive, since he was very close to you and, I mean, close in terms of making decisions as to where you put your feet in your academics? Was he in support?
He was totally, so even the admin, as I said, a lot of us didn't know where. And with the School of Admin, it's still the case right now. It's to do with grades, not the subjects that you do. So they take the highest grades. If you want to go to School of Admin, you can do 3, whatever. Once you get the top grades, you'll be, admitted in there. So after I did well at the A level, and my dad said, well, go to the School of Admin. And then when I went to the School of Admin as well, choosing after first year, you have to choose, what you major in, etc. Then he said, why don't you do accounting? Because he had spoken to his boss at the time. His boss was like, accountants are never hungry. I mean, you always have a job. So why don't you do accounting and do the professional exam as well? And that will really set you up for the future. And I did what my dad told me. I guess there's something in, because as, children and growing, young adults, there are people who've been ahead of us.
Yes.
We don't know a lot. At that time, 18, you probably think you know a lot, but you don't really.
You're prime.
You don't. You don't really. There are people who know a lot, and with their experience, you can do better.
Yes.
And I always refer to the Bible. Bible talks about in the multitude of counselors, there's safety. So if you listen to counsel, you are bound to do well, and that is what my life story has been.
Great. While you were in school studying, I mean, in university, it's obvious you were so much into your books and that, but on the side, were there any extracurricular activities you were involved in? Did you do business at any point? Try your hands out on selling?
No, I didn't. I was
None
actually,
of that.
so I was a member of ISEC, the International Students of Economics and Commerce. Yeah. And I was a strong Christian, So on campus, I was involved in the Christian fellowship, etc. And all my leadership roles were in the Christian fellowship, really.
Okay. Were you part of the team that started the prayers on the Sabbath field?
No.
You were not part of that?
I think we came to meet it there, and it was really great. I looked forward to those times.
Wow.
Yes.
Now it's no more. It's been cancelled. So, I mean...
Really?
Yeah. They stopped
What happened?
Prof Aite was here. I mean, he had a very valid point on there. The fact that, as Christians or as religious people, we're supposed to respect the boundaries of others as well. And so he thought it wasn't right, first and foremost, for students to go extra hours in prayers. You know how we do it. You give us 8 to 10, and then we go all the way to 5 a.m. People will make noise and that. So it's been, I mean, I think it's something they might revisit.
I think they should, because for me, those moments or those times were invaluable. They built me up for what I am today. I mean, you can't take God out of your life and do well, I'm telling you.
Wow. Let's talk a little bit more about family. Is Patience a boss at home as well as the office, or do you practically work the balance between work and family time? I mean, if you're at work, you're a different person. If you're at home, you're a different person.
So let me just say that my home is a Christian home.
Okay.
You know, both my husband and I are Christians. Our family, we bring up our children in a Christian way. And so our principles, we try and implement Christian principles in our home. And over time, as we've matured in our faith, I mean, it hasn't always been like this.
Yeah.
We've, been through a journey. We've matured in our faith. We've tried to instill godly order.
Yeah.
At home. And for me personally, I don't see any confusion because I try to adapt to the requirements of my various environments. Home is not work, and in the home, it's very clear that my husband is the boss at home.
Yeah.
And it's easy for me because it's I wear different, I guess many women wear different hats. We are, we are good at multitasking. Yeah. We switch a lot and it's easy for us. You wear one hat here, you move the hat down, you put another one, wherever you are, So once you understand the requirements of your various roles, there shouldn't be any confusion.
In there.
Yeah, but interestingly, I get this question a lot.
Okay.
People ask me a lot because they think, as boss so-and-so I wonder why. Because the fact of the matter is, you need your family. I don't know any woman who has gone to the highest, level and doesn't want a husband. I mean, there are probably a few.
Yeah.
Okay, let me not talk
special
for anyone.
cases.
Yeah, special cases. But most women, some of them pretend until it's too late. But most people. So if we all agree that we want to be married, why then after you've married do you want to, do the wrong things?
Yes, exactly.
To send away your man or to, disorganize your family. So it's just about knowing how to adapt.
How important is family time? I mean, you just raised the point that it's good to have a family itself.
Yes.
I mean, to recognize that there's family there and your business life as well. But when it comes to spending time with your family, how important is this to you? And what do you do on the regular with them when you spend time with your family?
No, it's very important. The reality is, though, for somebody like me, and throughout my career journey, I've spent a lot of time in the office because it takes a lot of hard work, commitment, and, persistence, to get things through and to get to this level. So I've had to sort of, balance things, work harder at balancing things, But family time, it's non-negotiable, to me. It may not be like on a daily basis. I have to be at home at 5 for all of us to sit around the table, use fork and knife and say our prayers and all that, But I try as much as possible. So, for example, I have at least 30 days of leave every year. I try and use that, to spend time with my family and catch up on things that, because of the business of my schedule, maybe have lagged behind. And let me also mention that I'm one of those that has welcomed this pandemic, honestly.
COVID-19?
Not the virus.
Okay. Okay.
But the opportunity is given me, to rethink things, to renew, for self-renewal, resetting and getting the balance right, and spending time on things that really matter.
Exactly.
And some of the things that matter, first, my relationship with God, prayer, etc. I've really had a great, prayer time, this past few months. And then time with my family, and catching up on things that, improved my well-being.
Yeah.
So that's how I try and manage the time with family.
How much do your kids know about you? I mean, do they know the type of person you are in the business, arena? Do they know their mom is a star?
To be perfectly honest with you, I don't think they care too much. You are just mommy, really, and I don't go telling them so and so. I mean, the other day there was some award and I sent it. My daughter is in college, and I sent it to her. And I think she did some young people stuff. She said "yo" or something. My dad said, "You say congratulations, not you." Something. I forget what she said, but some young sign, So you can imagine they're not really.
I think they know, but they still know Patience their mom, not Patience the boss.
I think so.
Anyways, now, what family values you try to inculcate in your children? I mean, how has that extended family support, or how has extended family support helped in reinforcing these principles? Things that you want to instill in the family, things that you want them to grow with. Apart from, their Christian values, basically.
Of course, yes. That's and very important that you say faith is really important. But in addition to that, there are values like perseverance, and determination, and we use every opportunity actually to drive home the point about you can be very intelligent, but without perseverance you get nowhere. It's not about those who have high IQs. It's about those who persevere. You all know the story of the is it Thomas, is it Edison, the guy, the guy who the light bulb guy.
Edison.
Who,
okay.
Yeah, several times tried
and
and then finally, if he had given up, that would have been it. We would have all been in darkness. Yes, so. We make that point very strongly, and so when things happen in their lives, we use that, to continue to reiterate the point that perseverance, it will serve you well in life, and that comes with also being determined, and then of course diligence, and I go back again. I mean, those of you who know the Bible, it says that, seest thou a man who is diligent, he will stand before kings. So diligence or hard work gets you noticed. You stand before important people. And we make that point all the time. And then also consistency. Because, consistency, you can do one big thing today and tomorrow, and the ups and downs will just cause you to be going round and round in circles. So
keep it consistent.
Keep it consistent, and of course we try to instill in them, unity, be one as a family, let's be one, united, and then honesty.
Are these the same? I have a feeling these are the same values you instill in your workers at your business side as well.
Yes. No, yeah, to a large extent. Because, for us to get this far, it hasn't been easy. And if you don't have a team that know how to forge ahead, in spite of the difficulties, persevere, we will all give up at a point, And I actually am one that is, as part of my values, integrity is very core to it. And part of, integrity is consistency.
That's true.
People see you doing the same thing all the time, and they begin to, identify you. With in a particular way, so consistency is very key, to that. So part of, some of those values, but in addition to that, I try and lead by example, so that others can be inspired.
All right, I'm glad. I mean, these are words that are so cool. 10:29, the Smiley the Board series. Shouts going out to one of our Facebook loyals. His name is Dede Akofo. Good morning, going out to you, bro. Now, take us through your day. Auntie Patient wakes up at what time? What do you do in the morning? What do you do for fun? Do you exercise in between work and then family? What are the things you do?
Yeah. So I wake up quite early, and I pray.
Okay.
And reflect. And I find that early in the morning, ideas. So my team will tell you, I send them messages at strange times, early in the morning, because
that sounds like
my
Tim.
mind. Yes, my mind, works and the ideas come. And I believe actually that the Holy Spirit speaks to me, So, with those kinds of ideas, then I start my day, knowing what we're going to focus on, what I need to see, etc. So I wake up early. Most of the time, now I eat breakfast, but most of the time,
you skip it.
I skip it, and then sometimes I exercise, I go to the gym, sometimes, I don't. So I'm not.
It's not a regular thing, but once in a while you make sure you do it.
Once in a while, yeah.
Okay.
Actually, I get to a stage where like I'm like really serious every day. I'm doing it, and
It happens.
Yeah.
It happens. I really understand. I mean, 3 days ago, the gym I work out at sent a message through another colleague that why does he come and then raise our vim? And he's going to be with us for a while, and then he goes, oh, that's how our life is. Let's begin from where your career in finance really took off. I mean, financial controller at the multinational bank like Standard Chartered Bank, was and still a big deal. I'm quite sure it all began somewhere. Tell us about how you got in. I mean, if you remember your first day at work, give us a clear picture of how things were.
So how I got in actually into banking, before then I was in Lincoln Community School as their finance manager, and that was a job I had left Ernst & Young, it was PKK Consulting at the time, and wanted to get into industry, as we call it. So I saw this job in the papers asking for a finance manager, Lincoln Community. Well, they didn't say who, but I applied. I followed, everything and applied, went through the interview and got it. So when I went in there, I realized it was renewable contract. So I realized it was a lot of hard work, by the way. I mean, work that like 4 people should have been doing.
You were doing it.
I was doing it.
Wow.
At a point I had to really, push, and then I brought one more person to help me, but it was still a lot of hard work. But as I thought, it wasn't really the hard work that got me, because I'm not afraid of hard work. It was more about not seeing the future there. I was just finance manager. What could I be really again? But I'm an ambitious person. I like to see progress, etc. So after the contract ended, of course, they're going to, now, at that time, I'd made it. By the way, before then, Lincoln Community School, right?
Yes.
I mean, everything is America. They import America into Ghana. So even the previous, finance I was like,
wow. This was the first time a black lady had assumed that position, and you did so well that they were ready to actually extend your contract.
Absolutely. I mean,
you said no.
I said no. I was like, nah, I don't. What am I going to do here? I mean, after this, what? I can't be here swamped with work and not seeing my way forward, So I actually decided not to renew the contract, even though I didn't have a job.
You didn't have a job?
I didn't have a job at the time. I just knew I'd get a job. I was so confident.
It comes off as very risky. I mean, one of the things I can pick from all that you are is a risk taker.
I do. I take risks. And for somebody who's an accountant, accountants are not supposed to be risk takers, but strangely, I'm a risk taker. I don't know why. I'm a person of conviction. Let me put it that way. And when I'm convinced about something,
Nothing
I jump.
Stops you.
I take a leap of faith. So that's what happened. I didn't have a job, but I didn't want to renew the contract. I said, this is not the place for me. I don't see where next my future. So that was like May of a certain year. I forget. And then I was at home. I remember when I went home, at that time I had my daughter, she was a baby at the time, and my mother-in-law was helping me at home with her. So when I went, I said, I don't have a job. She's like, oh, but you shouldn't have it. It's not good, and I just told her that, don't worry, I'll find another one. And, just like that, I was at home. That was May. A few weeks later, a colleague of mine working in Standard Chartered called me and said, and my friend actually, not, he knew what I'd done. He said, there's some role somewhere. Come and, put your application through, That was the finance department. He told me the person there had gone, abroad for some assignment. So I should come and see whether, So I put my application. It was a finance manager's role in Standard Chartered Bank. So they called me in for the interview, and, I went through successfully. So that was how come I joined Standard Chartered.
All right. So you remember your first day at work at Standard Chartered?
Not really. To be perfectly honest with you, not really. I just remember my first boss there. Mr. Kojo Finn. He was such a fatherly figure. He was a great boss, actually, and very encouraging, So what happened was the financial controller, as I mentioned at the time, had gone to the UK on, they normally have this 2 years secondment, this assignment that into part of our mobility, program. So he had gone away. So even though he hadn't left finally, he was temporarily away for 2 years. So they needed, qualified person, etc. So I joined, and then when he came back, so I wasn't a financial controller when I joined, they just called me finance manager. So when he came back, obviously having been out there for 2 years, he didn't want to come back to his financial controller role again. And so that gave me the opportunity
for you to settle in on there.
Step up into the role. Yeah.
How was the process like for you? I mean, settling in. It was a new role, new team members, a new workspace. How challenging was it?
It was quite challenging, and more the interpersonal side, because here I was an outsider. When I came, there were people in there who actually thought they deserved
that position.
The position. But what first two things worked for me. I was a qualified accountant, and I had the experience, and at that time, there wasn't another qualified accountant in the team, even though there were people with experience who had been doing the work, and thought, well, we're doing the work anyway, why can't we, But the financial controller needed to be a qualified accountant.
Yes.
So that's how come. And so you can imagine that there were cliques there, people, they had their relationship, the team was there before I came already, so you can imagine how there was a lot of undermining, thing. But I try to just remain focused, and that's what I typically do. I'm a focused person, and I ignore, small things that will not help me to achieve my aim. To the extent that I can, I will be nice to everyone. I try to be, nice and, sometimes I could go off, but
a little bit. Just a little bit of it. It's necessary sometimes. I was talking to a friend yesterday, and then he was like, oh, you can be cool in the business space. Don't bring your personal life in there. No personal feelings. But sometimes you just have to shake things up a little bit so they know, oh, she can actually do what they think she can. Were there any notable differences in the corporate work culture between two working environments? Ghana and South Africa. At a point, you had to take up a role of CFO all the way in South Africa. What were some of the sacrifices you had to forgo? I know obviously family would be one of the sacrifices. What were the other sacrifices you had to forgo? And then how was it like settling in there? A new country, new people, new workspace.
So let me just say that, Standard Chartered prepares you for working anywhere, because it's a very diverse environment, and the training, one of the best training I've ever had came from Standard Chartered Bank.
Okay.
I need to give credit where it's due.
That's good.
They train you through everything, many skills, leadership, etc., and they give you the exposure, international exposure, So I had been to quite a few places. And in terms of even the systems and processes, etc., it was uniform, across standardized.
So it felt the same.
So it felt really, really the same. So I actually just picked my bag, literally,
and left.
And left and went to just settle, logged into started working, And the people there surprised, how South Africa, I went there 2007, I think, so at that time they still had, even right now, they still have their challenges with seeing how they see people from other places. They were a bit surprised that I could just come and start working. I think they thought I'd come from outer space, but Standard Chartered. So I just fit in and started working, and they could see that, and I led the team, and they could see that I knew what I was doing. Even engaging with the auditors at the time and all that. I knew my stuff, because of the training that I'd had and everything. So I remember one of the partners of the audit firm asking me, so where did I do my professional qualification? She was just surprised that I could flow like them, and I was like them and everything, And I said, in Ghana? Really? And I smiled and said, accounting is accounting,
It's
everywhere,
yeah.
that kind of thing. So I fit in professionally nicely. When it came to the culture, it's, a diverse environment, and they still have that kind of tension between white and black.
Yes.
But I didn't take sides. So my team was made up of some white and some black people. And I worked with everyone very well, honestly. I won their respect, by being very competent and very capable. In the end, they saw that I was a capable person. So even though they must have had initial misgivings, through my delivery and through the results, at the time I took over the finance department, they had, arrears with accounts, records, and they were always late. Regulatory reports were always late. And that's a big thing. I mean, the central bank was going to withdraw their alliances at a point because, of the regulatory, non-compliance issues. But with my support and now galvanizing the team, we cleared all that. Our audited reports, came out early and all that. So with all that, it didn't matter that I was from West Africa and I was black. They just now began to see a competent person. And that's how come I progressed.
I'm sure that's how come you gained a lot of fans at that place as well. I mean, when they realized, she can actually lead us.
Yeah, actually, I worked. I was intentional in winning them, by showing them that I was capable. And there was a vacancy for leadership. I mean, there was a vacancy. There was a leadership gap. Let me put it that way. Which I filled. And that won me their admiration and respect.
How long did you stay there, South Africa?
Under 2 years.
Under 2 years.
Yes.
Did you learn any of their languages?
Oh no,
you didn't?
I didn't. I'm not a very language person, even though I understand other languages and I flow. Like for example, when I go to the market, I'm ever, but
nice.
My dad is ever, my mom is Krobo, When I get to the office, of course it's all English and all that. I'm one of those that I don't speak vernacular, But when I go to the market and nobody knows me, I just speak my broken tree and things.
Just go somewhere.
I flow cry.
I mean, out there, I was in SA, I think, in 2018, and one thing I realized was, once you're black, okay, in their minds you're one of them. Until maybe they hear you speak and then they realize you're actually not one of them. So in between their English deliveries, they mix a lot of their languages
They
in
do
there.
a lot, yeah.
And I know
even
at
in
some
the
point,
office, they speak their language, and that's how come people can feel ostracized because they don't care that you don't understand.
No.
They launch into some Zulu.
They will give you 5% of the English. And 95% is their language.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm sure along the line you had to warn a lot of them. I don't understand.
No, I didn't. I just flowed, and I'll just ask, what did you say?
Wow. So after holding senior roles in Standard Chartered Bank, you moved on to another big one, that was Barclays Bank.
Yeah.
How seamless was the transition, and what advice would you give young corporate executives who are currently at points of making a decision on whether to leave or stay where they are?
Very seamless, because as I said, Standard Chartered prepared me
to work anywhere.
And also some of the things that I had done in Standard Chartered, I was to do, and that's how come they even took me in Barclays. Because when I went for the interview, after the first couple of interviews, they were like, "This is the right person," because I demonstrated that I had done that in Standard Chartered. One of them was, implementing stringent financial controls, GL, cleanup, general ledger cleanup, etc. We had implemented IFRS in Standard Chartered. When I came to Barclays, we're now in the process of implementing IFRS. So I took the learnings and the experience and the skills I had gathered, in Standard Chartered, and just walked right into Barclays Bank to be a star.
And once again, want us to revisit how the switch came about. I mean, did you have to quit like you quit from Lincoln, same way?
So what happened was, to the other question that you asked about the sacrifices I made, actually moving, for you to, sometimes you need to move out. And one of my key lessons is, your comfort zone is your cage. You need to actually sometimes step out of your comfort zone, and do something else to demonstrate that you are ready for that, because it takes toughness to operate at a certain level, and you demonstrate that in various ways, one of which is living and thriving outside your comfort zone, your country, where your family is, where people, etc. So I had to go. I felt that this was an opportunity, and indeed, this was a step towards higher things. Moving to South Africa really played a key role in where I am today. So I had to go. But it wasn't convenient for my entire family. My husband is a lawyer in private practice, and he had this practice going for him. He needed to grow it, etc. So he wasn't very keen on leaving and going to South Africa, but I wanted to go. So I went earlier without my family. Then my children,
had to join.
My children joined, and then my husband every now and then. So that really wasn't. So my husband was there for a while, but he wanted to come back, and he would come and go. It was a bit disruptive.
Wow.
So I had to come back home, and that's how come I came to Barclays.
So was the urge to come back home that brought you back?
Yes, and the fact that was the right thing for my family. Yeah.
All right, we're going to move on to some more, but I have a quick surprise for you on the line. I'd be glad if you can wear the headphone for me. It's up here, right here. Right, kindly put it on for me. I'm going to connect a friend of yours who has known you for a while. I mean, she has a few words to share with us on who you really are beyond what we know. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Hi, Pearl. Good morning.
Hello?
Good morning, Pearl. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hi, Pearl.
Hello?
Pearl, so Patience is on the line. She's listening to you. How are you doing?
Hi. Okay. I'm very well. Thank you. Thank you very much. Hi, Patience.
Hi, what a surprise.
Well, I've been listening to all your stories on YFM this morning. I learned a few new things myself.
Pearl, how long have you known Patience?
Oh, okay. So I first met Patience when I went to Wesley Girls for sixth form, and that was 1986. And then we went to University of Ghana, Legon together. We did the same course. So, yes, so I've known her since then. It's been quite a while.
Were you a part of her squad back in Wesley that pushed her to get into sports?
No.
You were not a part of it. You never supported her doing sports, right?
I don't think I was there at that time. No,
Okay.
no.
All right. Beyond who we know in the business world, who is Patience, and how good is she in whatever it is that she does on the side?
Okay, so I mean, Patience really is. I've been listening to her this morning, and she's really what you see. She's a fierce and very focused person. I remember in school, she was one of those that I was like, okay, she's very serious, focused. If she wants to do something, you can't really shake her focus away from it. But then it translates into her personal life as well. I mean, I've been on the receiving side of a good, of having Patience on your side. I mean, she's like a mother hen, and she'll push you. She's fierce, and she's like, you can do anything, And she's one of those people. When she decides to help you, she just goes all out.
Great. Now,
And, yeah.
you've known her for a while. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure there might be a few words that you've always wanted to share with her. Now that she's on here being celebrated, I mean, do you have anything special you want to tell her? Let's just let it go. It's right on air, right here on YFM.
I don't know. Okay, so for a long time, it was difficult to see her beyond, her seriousness and her focus. You almost forget that she can have fun. So it was nice to see her having fun. And I mean, I see some of her pictures on holiday and stuff, and I was like, okay. And I remember meeting her at a party, and she was dancing, and I was,
wow.
You forget that she is normal like everybody else because she's such an achiever. But I want to say that, Patience, what you do and the things that you say and the support that you give a lot of people, it is priceless. And I pray and hope that you have that for years to come, and there'll be lots of people who would stand up and say that, yes, I know Patience, and she did this for me, and she did that for me. And you should continue doing that.
All right, thank you so much, pal.
Yeah.
And I really want to thank you an extra one for telling us that she actually parties. She left that out. Yes.
She knows how to have fun.
She left that part out. So it's good to know, at least know that she parties as well. Thank you so much, pal, for talking to us. I mean, Patience is grateful, okay?
Thank you. My pleasure.
All right. So, Pearl is the CEO of Ghana Deposit Protection Authority and founding member of the Executive Women's Network. She is the chairman of Ashesi University Board and serves on the other board as well. She is a good friend of, Patience. Good to know, honestly. So you might want to tell us about the party that she met you at? Oh, that one is off air. We'll do that one off air. On the side. Do that one on the side. Yeah. Now, in your 17 stellar years as a banker, what was that one thing that kept you motivated, throughout or through your days as working? What lessons did you pick from these years?
For me,
yeah. Thank you.
For me, it was about stewardship. Because one of my greatest values is stewardship, which is whatever your hands find to do it to the best of your ability and leave things better always than you found them.
Okay. All right. And what were some of the things that motivated you into believing in these things? I mean, personal experiences that you had, you've shared obviously a lot with us, but what were some of the things that pushed you into believing stewardship is one of the key factors to keep you in there? I mean, longevity in whatever you do.
So it is about, I realized that, your hard work is normally rewarded. And I found that, a lot of the times people recommended me. Many of the roles that I have, for example, before I became CFO in Standard Chartered Johannesburg, I was financial controller. My boss recommended me as CFO. I didn't even have to go through any interview. My boss, the CFO at the time, just moved on and said, this lady can do it. Move in to the role, and that was it. So I realized stewardship actually speaks for you. When you are able to demonstrate that the little that you are given, you are able to take care of it and take care of it, excellently. You are given the opportunity to do the next big thing, and that has kept me going on and on throughout my career.
Between these three elements, all right, integrity, hard work, and commitment, which of these values are you more likely to subscribe to in your line of work?
I think...
You want to pick all?
Yeah, I think so. I think all three in equal measure.
Okay.
But starting with commitment, you can't get far without commitment. And for me, it's my passion, my dedication, my commitment, and hard work that has contributed to my success in the career arena. So start with commitment, adding hard work, but then integrity is something that you can't pay a price for. Your reputation, nobody can. It says that reputation is better than riches, right? So it's just that with integrity, even though I like to think that I'm a person of integrity, and I don't think anyone can point to me and say I've done any such, but you are in an environment, unfortunately, where even wrong looks to a lot of people like right.
Yes.
I mean, everywhere you go, somebody's looking for something to help you. So I may not be doing it, but I don't stop people from doing it. And from, and the fact that I know it's happening around me and maybe I'm not actively, implicates me in a way, even though I don't, do it. So integrity is needed, but I think that our society, corruption in our society is so endemic that it's a constant challenge to live a life of integrity on a daily basis in the work environment.
That makes sense. Now, tell us about your transition from Barclays Bank to Hollard Insurance. Now that we're here, was there a need to make any big adjustments to fit in this position? I mean, it's still under finance, but it's in a different sector under there. Were there any big adjustments you had to make? Took extra classes somewhere?
Actually, lots of big adjustments on several levels. The first is from banking into insurance. Two different industries. The banking industry is more fast-paced. Insurance has been conservative for so long and is not as fast-paced as banking. It's quite slow and laid back. You know, I'm a very high energy person, actually. You know, I like to be, and I'm not, you know, your youngest person, but I'm almost even more high energy than the young people,
ones,
you
right?
know. I like, you know, to get things going, you know. But you find that in the insurance industry, people take their time and are more laid back. And as I said, more traditional, more conservative. So I have struggled a bit to adjust to that. You know, that's the first thing. The second thing is I was running a big organization, actually at the time, the most profitable, you know, bank, you know, and when I was leaving, one of my colleagues asked me, so why on earth are you leaving your role to go to an industry whose total profit is smaller than your profit alone, you know, as Barclays? And I just said, listen, the profit in Barclays is not my personal, you know, it doesn't go into my personal pocket, so you can't use that to, you know. But the point being made is there was a big organization and I was moving, you know. Yes, granted, I'm now looking after two, I'm looking after a group, so two organizations, but one of which is a startup, and a startup is hard work.
It's not easy.
You have no idea. It's a lot of hard work. So, you know, it's been a challenge. And also in terms of even the structures, I mean, the Barclays is a big was, you know, it's no longer here. It's now metamorphosed into ABSA. It's a big organization. The structures are there, you know, etc. This is a much smaller organization, so I had to put in some structures, you know, etc. So there was a lot of, you know, that kind of adjustment that needed to happen. You know, and on a personal note related to the work, my boss who brought me in South Africa, you know, based in South Africa, also resigned just before I took up the role. So in my 2 years of being in the role, I've had 3 bosses. Can you imagine, in South Africa? Some of, I mean, whom I've had to almost feel like I had to come to grips with even why I'm here, you know, because the one who brought me here moved on. You know.
So why are you still here?
No, not why I'm, but it felt like, you know, this is a new structure, right? This role was created for me, you know. You don't find, apart from 1 or 2 other competitors, you don't find a group CEO structured this way. So somebody who has vision, you know, somebody had the vision and decided that this is the way to grow their business and get to the market leadership here. But others who come along then need to understand exactly. So I had to face that. And the other thing is there's always talk about costs. Why are you spending this and that? You know, meanwhile, you needed to invest to grow their business. So all those are challenging. But let me just end on a great note that in spite of all those challenges, there's actually a lot of traction, and I have a great team, and already, you know, we've made great progress.
Yeah, that's very good. Now, since you mentioned Hollard, I have another surprise on the line for you. Kindly wear your headphones for me. We're going to do a lot of that today. I think the point where you have to do your freestyle, you might wear it as well. I have on the line a guy. I think I'll just let him introduce himself. Well, I won't mention his position as well. I'll do that later. But hello, boss. How you doing? Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
How come I'm not surprised?
I'm doing fabulously well.
So I was supposed to bring you in as a surprise for Patience, but apparently she's not even surprised.
I'm not surprised because it's only Nash who.
Then you know what? It's Nash. Nash is the one on the line. Nash, thanks for joining us on the line. Briefly, tell us the kind of boss Patience is.
Wow, what a question! I think that if I had 1 hour, that would not be enough to define who Patience is truly is.
Please,
but I
briefly
think
do it for us.
In simple terms, Patience is the true definition of inspiration and execution. She inspires us on daily basis, and I tell you what, just as she's mentioned, energy. Is something else, you know. Sometimes you, the young ones, you have to catch up, you know. She's actually brought a lot of perspective, as she rightly said, to the insurance landscape. What she said is exactly what it is. Some of us who have been in it for the past 16, 17 years, yes, it's true. It's been there's been some bit of conservativeness with the industry. But with the coming to the industry, I'll tell you what, industry players, my colleague competitors would tell you, hey, tell your boss to slow down. You know, this is a conservative industry, you know. But more importantly is the fact that she brought new perspectives, new thinking, you know. And it wasn't surprising at all. But even to industry players that she was voted as the best in terms of innovation, you know, and then excellence actually, you know, in the industry, you know, the woman of excellence in the industry, just this year, you know. And we're so proud of her. I must say, in Patience, you can find a mother, you can find a mentor. Okay. You know, in Patience, you can find a friend, and someone who sincerely, my good friend, sincerely wants to drive a positive change.
That's true.
And impact lives. There's no one can take from her. You know, she should look at you and tell you what you need to do, and eventually when you get it done, you yourself, you realize that you've added value to yourself. Yes. Now, so that's about I have.
I tell you what, I wish you were watching on Facebook now because she's wearing a big smile, a very, very big smile.
And let me say that I'm not flattering. This is what she is, but this is Patience, yes. And should you call any person, you know, at Hollard, you know, would tell you different, but same or even more, because her addition to the Hollard family has brought a lot of newness, a lot of hope, you know, because she kind of inspires all of us. She wouldn't take no for an answer. At all. She's the definition of win. We must win, you know, and we would win together. Thank you very much, Patience, and keep inspiring us.
And thank you so much, Nash, MD of Hollard Life Insurance, for taking time off your busy schedule to talk to us. I tell you what, she's going to come back to work very soon, okay? You see her back at the office very, very soon.
I'm waiting to see her dancing moves anyway.
We'll get her on that. Wow, we are in the third and final hour of the show. So that was Nash on the line. Everyone seems to have something extra, special to say about you. I mean, these are things that don't just come off overnight. You built a brand that has influenced a lot of people at the various sectors. I mean, I just wish we could speak to someone from Lincoln, even as far back as Lincoln. But I know they are listening and will definitely share, good comments about you as well. Let's move on back to the conversation. There are currently about 142 regulated insurance entities comprising 24 life insurance companies, 29 non-life insurance companies, 3 reinsurance companies, and 85 insurance brokers and loss adjusters with more than 6 billion, Ghana Citi's total assets. How vital is insurance or the insurance sector to our economy as a nation?
The insurance sector is really important to economic and national development. And insurers across the world, are the largest investors because of the, size of assets that they control, and the fact that they need to be well invested to be able to pay claims as and when they are due. Unfortunately, that is not the situation in Ghana, but actually, it's fortunate because that means there's a lot of potential.
That's true.
And growth ahead of us. And that is one of the reasons why I actually am excited to be part of what is happening in the industry at this time. So there's a lot of hope for our industry, the insurance industry, to step up to the position that it has to be in, and to play its role in driving growth and economic development in this country. I mean, they contribute a lot. We have a lot of potential as an industry to contribute to construction, long-term financing projects that boost our economy. In addition, when it comes to normal insured people like you and I, we actually improve your well-being and your welfare, because you transfer the risk, the risk in your daily living, your routine, whatever, you transfer to us so that you can have peace of mind.
And live your life.
So we make your life better. We improve your well-being. And I dare say we actually extend your life because, with with peace of mind comes long life,
That's
know.
True.
So, and then of course, we also are great employer. We contribute a lot to the employment, of the people of wherever we are, in whatever country we are. Because I haven't seen, there are so many levels in the insurance industry. There are agents, there are brokers, there are loss adjusters, there are all sorts of people. There are the employees themselves, etc. And at each level, we provide employment for Ghanaians and their families, and then pay our taxes, of course. So you cannot really, a country that does not focus on the insurance industry
does not have a future and
will not go, in terms of the long term, will not achieve its potential. And that is why I'm happy that actually the draft bill that has been drafted for so long is finally in Parliament, and we can't wait for it, because it has in it certain compulsory insurances. Group life insurance is one of them, where at least 5, if you are an employer and you have at least 5 people, you have to do life insurance for your employees. And also there's professional indemnity insurance and other compulsory insurance that will then boost and open up the insurance market.
Thank you for that. Now, one of the things that I personally know about insurance is trust. It's in the insurance industry has been there for a while. I mean, you mentioned that there's been a big revamp in recent years, but one of the things involved in achieving the total goal or the ideal goal when it comes to finance, so obviously you guys have your goals, and that is gaining trust from the people. How has the switch been? I mean, back then there were things you'd hear on the street like, oh, make insurance, I mean, say. How has your team or your involvement in the insurance sector switched the mentality from what it used to be to what it is now? Because now people are in love with insurance. That is what I know. How has the change been?
Yeah, I think, there's part of a new crop of people that are trying to demystify insurance.
Yes.
And Hollard is leading that, but there are others in the industry also playing their part. And the whole thing is to simplify insurance. So, like how I've just spoken to you, I'm not, a typical. I'm not an insurance professional.
Yeah.
So I brought the outsider's view, the customer's view, what the customer wants to see, into the industry. And the first thing is simplifying insurance and letting you breaking it down, letting you understand why you need it. So I've just told you that if you want to live long and you want peace of mind, transfer your risk to your insurer. And how do you identify, what to insure? First of all, what do you value? That's the question you should ask yourself. Your life first. I'm sure everyone will start with their life. Yeah. You value your life first.
Your property.
You value your property. You value your car. You value your family. So cover them with insurance. It's just as simple as that, There's nothing really complicated about it. So if you are here and you don't have life insurance, you say you value your life, you haven't done life insurance, and what about your family, your pretty daughter? You want some man to go, when you die, because you are not there to give them money, you want some man to take advantage of her? No, you don't. So why don't you do life insurance so that you can cover your family, so that should you not been there? I've known many people who, because their dad, not many, a few people, a few people who because, they lost their dad, their destinies changed.
Exactly.
They couldn't go to school again, and etc. Why do you want that to happen to your family? In addition, in addition to that, your property, as you said, it would be a shame if your nice house that you spend so much money on, something happened to it, fire, whatever, and you lose it because you were not prudent enough to do insurance. Your car, I mean, I struggle with why you will buy a car 100,000
and not insure
and do third party and pay 300 cedis for insurance, because you are trying to. And then when something happens, we don't, because it's not comprehensive, we only pay for the third party and we don't touch your 100,000 car. When you're listening to me, does it make sense to you? So it's about simplifying insurance, and that's what we've been trying to do since we joined.
Wow, that's well said. Can you take off the headset from me? We're done with that. What are the key indicators to look for when looking for the right insurance company to deal with? I mean, you've said a lot.
Yes.
You've given us the reasons why it's necessary for us to insure our lives, insure our property, but what do I look out for when choosing the right insurance company?
So, first of all, you need to be sure that the insurance company you are dealing with is in good standing and has a great claims payment, track record, and their ability to pay claims is very, very key. So you can take references. People have experiences. Do these people pay claims and do they pay on time? First of all. And then also on claims, you should try and understand their claims philosophy, i.e., how do they manage claims? So there are all sorts of things that you must look at. For example, excess. What's their policy around excess? What's their policy around contribution? What's, any penalties, etc. And then you should also look at whether there are discounts, applicable discounts. So because sometimes, because of your good driving, record, etc. You deserve some records. You deserve some discounts. Sorry, apologies for that. You deserve some discounts. So that you should look at, and then you should also consider doing insurance in groups. So we've got partnerships with certain organizations, bank assurance partnerships, and being part of that can actually reduce slightly your premium.
Yes.
So you must also look at things like that. And then finally, you must look at the ease of doing business with the company you are considering, because these days you must look at whether you can do business remotely. You want to stay at home and have a policy issued, right? We have introduced your first virtual insurer,
Araba.
your famous Araba Hollard.
Hollard.
Just by sitting at home using WhatsApp, you can insure your house.
Wow.
Very soon you'll be able to do more on Araba. So these are the kinds of things. And of course, size matters. Look at their market share. It's not casting. That is not casting stone. Whatever. But it helps to know what their total assets are. The market share, etc.
Yes, it. Ken, I wish. So you look at the market share. Yes, exactly. You look at how ready they are.
Exactly.
And then okay, I can live my life with this brand to insure me and ensure that they manage the risk involved in living, so I can live longer. Anyway, thank you for that. Now, apart from motor insurance, you mentioned a few other insurance, policies, which I know majority in the informal sector are not very interested in. How is Hollard Ghana working to narrow this gap? There's a huge gap between the informal sector and formal sector when it comes to insurance. How is Hollard Insurance narrowing this gap?
So through partnerships, you would have heard that we've been in partnership. We've introduced some industry-first partnerships, like our partnership with Vivo, where we plan to spread to the length and breadth of this country through their service stations and create accessibility and convenience for our customers across the country. We've also, not too long ago, partnered with Melcom, where Ghana shops. Everyone shops in Melcom, right? So if you are partnering with Melcom, it means that insurance will be everywhere. And the plan is that those who hitherto did not have access to insurance will be able to access it, because we plan to be in every Melcom store, where you go. So those partnerships, in addition to that, we are looking to partner, it's in the works, I'm not able to disclose it, but with a fintech to distribute digitally, a fintech and a telco to distribute digitally insurance, and a big part of our purpose is financial inclusion.
Okay.
So this is, big. What I'm talking about, the partnership with the fintech and the telco to distribute microinsurance is really big, and we are looking forward to rolling that out.
I have a few young professionals listening to me. I mean, you mentioned the fact that starting up a brand or startup brands they don't get things easy. I mean, it's not easy to run a startup brand. What sets Hollard apart from the many other brands, and what insurance policy would you recommend for young aspiring professionals like myself?
Okay, so what sets us apart actually is our purpose, starting with our purpose. Our purpose is to enable more people to create and secure a better future. It's a purpose-driven brand. So even before you start interacting with us, you fall in love with our purpose. And indeed, those were one of the considerations, that I had in mind when I moved. Yeah, because I'm actually in love with a purpose that keeps you, very much, passionate. I'm very passionate about the purpose and the fact that you're helping people. You're not just doing what you're doing, but you're actually making lives better. Keeps me really charged and motivated. So it's our purpose. And I know young people like to deal with purposeful organizations. And so for me, if you want an insurance company to do business with, look at Hollard, because in the process, we will help you create a better future. And then, of course, professional, you talk about professional indemnity insurance is something you should look at, in addition to your motor insurance, well, which, it's right standard. Please try and do a comprehensive policy, that one, In addition to that, also look at professional indemnity. And maybe you may not have a house, but you can insure your contents. So you could be renting property, but you have some valuable items. Maybe your big something screen TV. What's the latest now?
There's 75-inch.
Which one?
I have one at home. I don't know. Something.
But have you insured it?
Oh.
Can you imagine spending so much money on that?
I'll talk to my sister here right after.
Yes.
Yeah, because one of the things I really fear, between us, I always fear the fact that one day I'll come back from work and then it's dropped. No, it's not even a crack, because you see the brackets they fix on the wall. I don't trust it.
Yeah.
So every time I'm about to enter the room, in my mind, I'm like, what if it's happened?
Yeah.
And so I think I have to do it. I'll just insure it. I have a big fridge as well. All these things.
But tighten the bracket first, so that it's not because of negligence that it falls on the floor. But somebody could even, God forbid, steal it. Really, it's not far-fetched, right? So you really want to buy peace of mind. Reverse
instead.
Yes.
All right. Now, shout's going out to our Facebook massive as well. Dede, our couple is showing us some mad love on there. Sims Don Pet says, love this. Keep it up. Good experience. Linda Saki says, that is my dear friend, Kosi.
Yes.
Good girl. Well done, my dear. Good morning going out to you, Linda Saki. Donette Kosina says most employers don't understand the importance of insurance to their business and employees. Linda Saki is back to say, gay girls rock. I think she went to school with you. She went to gay?
She did. She's my friend.
Final one from Donette Kosina says, most people complain about the cost of insurance being expensive. Can she discuss that and break it down for us? Why people think insurance is expensive? Is it expensive in the first place?
If you think insurance is expensive, try not insuring and see how expensive that is. People bicker about little amounts that they pay extra for comprehensive, but you have an accident, and see how much you will have to. So the thing is, you see, insurance, it's built on this pool system. So you will see that over a period of time, your contribution in terms of premium may not even match up to the claims that you will make should there be a big accident or incident. So look at it in that way. One day, I'm sure there's nobody here who hasn't had an accident before. Because if you are a driver, if you are in this world and you are going up and down, you are exposing yourself to risk.
A lot of risk.
Sooner or later, you are bound to have some form of incident or accident. It may delay, and you may, in the initial stages, feel that you are wasting money. But you wait until it happens, and you'll be happy you had insurance.
Wow. You heard that for yourself. You have no other option than to insure your life. Make the wisest decision. If you think insurance is expensive, wait till the accident actually happens. Then you see which one is actually expensive. You've held Hollard to win corporate awards, including Motor Insurance Company of the Year, Finance Team of the Year 2019, as well as Best Growing Non-Life Company of the Year, and many others. I know, obviously, you couldn't have achieved this without a great team. What do you look out for when putting together a team?
Absolutely. Great question. And, to your point, yes, my team is great and they've contributed a lot to, the success so far. And starting with the two MDs, I've got an MD looking after the general insurance business, Daniel Lado, who is a very seasoned and experienced insurer. He has been in the company for a while, but not as MD.
Okay.
He became MD just about the time that I joined, so also new in his role, but brings to the role a lot of, in his calm way, a lot of leadership and experience, And the live team is a new team as a startup, having been around for more than 2 years. So we had to bring the team from outside. So we went out and looked for, so starting with Nash. Actually, I wasn't group CEO at the time Nash came on board, but I contributed to his coming on board. He didn't know at the time I was interviewing him that I was going to be his boss.
Oh, wow. Nash.
But I was part of the panel, and I was happy. One of the things I liked about him, in addition to his wealth of experience and technical capabilities, was his outgoing nature. Because for a startup, you need somebody who's outgoing. So I looked at that. So you were asking what I look at. I was very, impressed, or I was taken in with his outgoing. He can flow with anyone and just chat freely and get business. And I thought
he's a people's person.
He's a people's person. Yes, he's a people's person. And I thought great skills for a startup. And in addition to bringing in new people, I identified for the new people, I identified roles that were or skills that were lacking in the team. One of which was strong marketing, corporate affairs. And so I brought Cynthia and her team, and then of course we also needed help with legal, etc. So I look at missing skills, and I go out there. I wasn't just restricting my search to the insurance industry.
You go out and scout.
I scout. I came from banking, so obviously I scout wide, and then pay for the expertise and the skills that I'm looking for, and add on to the existing. So there was an existing team. I looked around, and yes, I was happy with what I thought they had done so far, and realized that they were sold on the vision.
Yeah, the vision, it really matters.
Yes, it matters. So all this, a great team actually, is brought together, is enabled by great leadership.
Great leader.
You create the atmosphere for people to flourish and thrive, And together with Dan and Nash, we bring that leadership to the table. And with direction, I'm actually quite visionary. I knew exactly where I was headed.
Exactly.
We have a good purpose. We have a strategy. It's really great strategy that everyone can see is working. So it's very easy to get people motivated, rallying them and bringing them along. Yeah.
Wow. That's a lot of, key points for startup companies. I mean, you might want to look out for these things when you're bringing people on board. One thing you mentioned that I really, really love is the fact that the vision, all that they have, their capabilities, their skills should fall in line with the vision.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, if you're very good and you don't fall in line with the vision, if you're not working towards the vision, you're working towards somewhere else.
Exactly.
And you're going to veer us from where we want to get to.
Yeah. But the thing about vision is the leader has to articulate the vision clearly. Because people, in their previous experiences, there wasn't clarity around the vision.
Where are we going?
Where are we? It's very important for people following you to know where you are going. And if you are able to demonstrate that and articulate it clearly, then you can bring them along.
That's true.
Yes.
That's true. Now, like many other organizations, I mean, COVID-19 came and shattered everything, all our plans and that. I think in the beginning, somewhere right after the COVID-19, I heard of Hollard as, the new platform for insurance and that. I believe that was a part of the plans, to withstand this whole pandemic.
Indeed, yeah.
Are there any other plans Hollard has put in place or your team has put in place after this COVID-19 came up?
Yeah, surprisingly, even though nobody knew this was going to happen, we were prepared.
Okay.
For some reason, I guess it's, once again, this visionary, So, for example, we had a business continuity plan that we immediately kicked in, and we were set up to work from home. All we needed to do was to get data, etc., and we got that. We bought more laptops, etc., and then we were set. So even right now, as I speak to you, majority of us work from home. We're trying to decongest the office and, run a lean, team, just so that we are careful. Of course, slowly more people are coming into the office, but it's currently not a full team. So we work from home, and as much as possible, our service to our customers was not disrupted. Because even from home, we're issuing policies. You know, the only thing is sometimes, you know, people want to see you and pay money and
the one-on-one
claims,
feel,
you know, that kind of thing. And so for those particular cases, we are available, you know. And then we also try as much as possible to digitalize, you know, our processes, etc. You know, and as you see, one of them is a virtual insurer that we introduce. And there are more. We are trying to, we are changing, upgrading our operating system, our software, our core software that we use. We're upgrading it to be able to do more interesting stuff, you know.
That sounds like a lot of work.
It is.
I mean, kudos to Team Hollard Ghana. You guys are doing a great job. I mean, from the team, we see what you guys are doing. It's a very, very sensitive sector to work in. And it's very important as well, as, you know, Madam mentioned earlier. You guys should keep on doing the work. I mean, be inspired by Madam Patience. Keep it going for all of us. It's all for our good. 11:26. Good morning, going out to anyone locked into the show, everyone locked into the show. If you want to be a part of the conversation, 0202222073, get you in. At this point, we want to get on to our next surprise from Memories on the Wall. And so this will be presented by Chris. Chris is our new producer for the show. And there's a special one for you, Patience Achianu. The team decided to serve you with this. Keep it at the office. I mean, it's my wife. Yes.
This is beautiful.
It's beautiful, right? Kindly show it to the camera so people on our Facebook can see. Guys, get on our Facebook now. Y1079 FM. It's a beautiful portrait.
Thank you so much.
Of Patience.
Wow.
Made by Memories on the Wall and then YFM. Keep it at the office. Whenever you look at it, remember this day and the number of people you inspired.
Wow.
For sharing your story with us. I mean, we feel a lot of people will have their lives and paths changed for the better.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I feel so appreciated. Thank you.
Welcome.
God bless you.
I take the welcome on behalf of the team. Is it on our Facebook? Are we seeing it there? All right. Guys, keep sharing our feed, by the way. If you're watching us live, make sure you click on the share button. Share for your friends and family members to see as well. Now, Patience, you are a founding member of the Executive Women's Network and International Women's Forum, Ghana. How well are these groups in touch with the most vulnerable women groups out here?
So with the Executive Women Network, we partnered with SOS to deliver their family strengthening program, which was to identify a number of deprived families we chose Choco area, and we then supported these families, these women, by giving them capital, well, almost like extending a loan to them to do their business so that they could be economically independent to be able to look after their, their children. And we did that for a while. The project has now come to an end. There's a new executive for the Executive Women Network, and I know they are looking to identify another partner to deliver on something else, because we neither have the time or the expertise to be able to fully understand what is happening in the grassroots, in terms of the vulnerable group of. So we partner with people who are already in there, who are in there, know the people and can guide us, and I'm sure that they will find the right partner to take us to the next stage.
In achieving the total goal, you work with the ones who are experienced in there, you partner.
Yes, we look at partnerships.
So partnership is the way forward.
Partnership is the way forward, yes.
In your opinion, how important is it for successful women leaders to take up leadership roles, especially in politics and policy making?
I think it is important. The only very important, because that government is the highest decision making body in our country, right? And that's where the power, in terms of the public sector driving things, that is where the influence.
That's a powerhouse.
The powerhouse, yes. That's where you can influence highest, that, etc. So really it's important that if we want our voice to be heard and we want to be a part of the table, the decision-making table, we should get to the highest level. It takes a lot of courage and guts, because the way politics is done here
in Ghana,
I honestly, I'm not attracted to it as a result of that. it's very like you are for me or you are against me kind of thing. It's
Polarized things.
yeah, and you're either part of this or you are not. And I just feel that kind of, there are a lot of people who can contribute in terms of their expertise, technical, capabilities, etc., to making this country a better place and leading at that level and just being technocrats, just doing their work, but they get roped into the politics, and sometimes it gets very nasty. And a lot of women cannot stand that kind of, unnecessary, rancor, etc.
Tension, all the words.
Exactly. So it's very important, that one. And I'm very pleased that now we have, a woman, presidential, not running mate, actually, presidential candidate for PPP, right?
Yeah, yes,
we've got Bridget, my own mate from Wesley Girls, as well. So I think we're getting there. We also have Gisela, who, is also trying to run for MP in her area. So we've got a few women, and of course they are existing already. Women there, so they've gone ahead of us, and hopefully we can learn from afar.
You mentioned that you're not interested, or you're interested personally
yes,
in that. But I have like 2 messages on here. Shouts going out to Matilda Adair, says too powerful. Sister. Yes, go and go.
My sister.
Isdo Ohineba says great leadership, keep it up, God bless you. And Dede Akofo says she is our next president. Would you ever consider?
That's Agatha, my colleague.
Would you ever consider? I mean, put the interest aside. Maybe will we get to a point where if it becomes, it becomes appealing?
I was
devoid
just going
of
to say,
all these.
I was going to say never, but I've learned in life never to say never. Okay. So I won't say never. But currently, as I speak to you,
no,
I don't have those ambitions.
But when we get there, we'll swim. When we get to the river, we'll swim across.
Because I don't know tomorrow, so I can't, be very.
They just stay hopeful, okay? She might just consider when the time comes. I'll be happy though. I'll be very happy for that. Now, in most Ghanaian cultural settings, the girl child is often made to believe that she is a financial burden. What are your thoughts on this, and how can we change this mindset to ensure that the girl child is continuously empowered?
I mentioned to you that these are, until recently, I didn't even know they. Yes, I didn't even know they existed, because in my wildest imagination, I can't imagine. You have children. Some of them are girls, and they are all intelligent. You decide that you are going to deprive because they are girls, and I just can't imagine. I can't think far, So I can't imagine anyone doing that. But I know it exists, And for me, it's sad. It's a big mistake if you deprive your girl child because you want to save money and she's going to get married. Well, because you remember what Dr. Kwejiri Agri said, why? He said, if you educate a woman, you educate a nation.
A whole nation.
Which is true. You look at, mothers who are educated and are doing well. Their children aspire.
They're empowered.
They are empowered. And actually, without realizing it, they just aim for high, because that is what they grew up seeing. And my mother, used to be the MD of this. It's normal. My mother is a writer. The other day I saw one of my friends put on Facebook, Lucy, that her
Lucy
nephew,
Quist.
yes,
oh, wow.
Her nephew was asking, when is your next book coming out? And it was casual and normal. My writing has become like, when are we eating, cocoa? You know what I mean? When are you going to shop? It's so like normal. When are you writing your next book? For children to grow in an environment where writing is normal, writing a book is like really normal. It takes a woman getting there,
yes,
to bring a whole nation, if you like, along. So I can't, for anyone who is doing that, really you are depriving the nation,
whole nation,
of the building materials that it needs for development. Because we are more than, mind you, women are more than 50%, or 51%, etc. So can you imagine 51% of the population not having, equal?
You're depriving the whole
opportunity.
Generation,
yes.
And the next one to come.
And the next, you are depriving generations. actually posterity will hold you accountable.
Exactly.
I mean, it's one of those things that when you will be judged. I mean, let me not get into this.
God.
I think I need to stop because actually you are doing so much harm.
I think, Ganj, you should give me the sound bite from Prophet Odro. God will judge you. Points like this, we could have just played it and we just sounded off. God will judge you. Yao Puni on Facebook says, good morning, Eskin. I just found her astounding achievements on Google. I buttress her love for insurance. We're getting a lot of fans on here today. 35 past 11. Now, how critical is it for young people, especially women, to understand corporate politics, and what are some of the risks if it's ignored? I mean, how critical is it for young people, especially women, to understand corporate politics, and what are some of the risks if it's ignored?
You know, wherever you are, you can't operate blindly in any environment. In every environment, you have to understand the pillars for success, who the influencers are, who the real leaders behind the leaders are, you know, what to do and what not to do. You know, and you can't just say, oh, me, I'm just doing my work. And a lot of women do that. And I'll just be recognized because, you know, I'm sitting in my corner doing my... No, it's not about... It's even about who you should be visible to. Because you could be doing your work, but somebody else will be taking your glory and saying that, you know, presenting your work as this. You have to understand. You have to put up your hand and ask for the opportunity.
And own it.
And own it and ask for the opportunity to present, to showcase what you can do, etc. So really, it doesn't help you to just sit in your corner and say, oh, me, I don't do politics and I don't understand how... Because when we hear politics, we look at the word as a dirty because of what we all know of politics here, right? But you can't avoid politics. Whether you embrace it or not, it's there with you. So why don't you rather learn how to play it and play it to win?
Wow. Very thoughtful. Shouts going out to all of the guys joining in the conversation on Twitter with the hashtag Wiley the Board Series. I'm going to fish a few of them out and then, you know, ask Madame in a bit. What do you perceive to be the next level of women advocacy here in Ghana? Are we looking at an eventual power brokers and powerful lobby groups, or what? How is it looking like in the future?
I think when it even comes to the associations, etc., we haven't, you know, optimized the potential that we bring. A lot of us are not as influential as we should be. So let's just make sure that we get that, you know, even more effective.
Fast.
You know, I think there's a lot. The other day, somebody was telling me there were loads of women organizations, but all in their little corners. Why don't we join forces? And that's why going forward, our thing will be partnerships. And I hope I'm not taking the wind out of the sail of the new executives. But, you know, they will identify the right partners so that together we can make more inroads and make more impact, you know, and be seen and heard. And we can demonstrate the value we bring to the table so that people will hear us, you know, and support us. So I think, first of all, let's make the associations more effective.
Unity, power, effectiveness. Well, unity, partnership, and effectiveness. I think that is power. It translates into power in the long run.
Absolutely.
Wow. Now, one of the leading political parties has promised to extend maternity leave from 3 to 4 months in its manifesto. How welcoming is this proposition, or how welcome is this proposition, and what do you make out of the argument that it will discourage private firms to, into hiring women?
I think it's good because even without this, people were taking 4 months anyway because they add their annual leave. A few women add their annual leave to the 3 months and extend it. So this is happening anyway and it's being formalized. So it's for me, and also the children, there's, as I said, there are various roles that a woman plays, and a very important part of the role, you know, as a mother cannot be taken away from you. Your child needs you. So it's an important thing, and I support it 100%. I also see from the employer and the private sector's point of view in that, you know, you are committed to your shareholder to make sure you maximize their return, etc. And they don't care who is doing the work, they just want the work done. So how you manage that becomes part of, you know, your leadership. You know, and also making sure you are contributing to humanity and society, because it's a very necessary, you know, part of human existence. You know, so it's about how you manage that and make sure you cover for the gaps that may arise as a result of, implementing this new regulation.
Thank you so much. I think you've said so much. I really appreciate every moment in this interview.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up, what advice would you give to young women at the start of their careers? I mean, when you began, there were things that you thought you knew, you found out later you didn't know. There were things that came up that you didn't even expect.
Yeah.
In a brief manner, what advice would you give young women starting their career?
Yeah.
What should they look out for?
I think, first of all, don't be so held hostage by the fact that you are a woman. Because a lot of us enter the work environment even expecting that we'll be discriminated against because we are women. Don't be held hostage by that. Just apply yourself, to the best of your abilities to whatever you are given.
Yes.
And whatever you are given is an opportunity to shine. Some of us are picky. It's like, I want to be here, I want to be there. But have you proved yourself, worthy of your next opportunity by being diligent and faithful in whatever you are given? So apply your best efforts to whatever you are given, because that is what will open the door to your next level. And as I mentioned earlier, your comfort zone can be your cage.
That's true.
So please, don't just identify an area and say, this is my area. Be always willing to branch out and step out, and take on responsibilities as and when they come.
As they come up.
Yes.
Wow. Thank you so much for that. Final thing, what would you like your legacy to be? And what would you tell young people out there, especially women struggling to identify their purpose in life? I mean, you gave them what to look out for with regards to their career. In identifying their purpose in life, finding who they are, what advice would you give us and what legacy would you like to leave?
So let me just start by saying that everyone's purpose is different. And really, no two purposes are the same, because God created us with a unique set of giftings, skills, abilities, talents, and even with our experiences, we are being prepared for different purposes. So I'm here speaking to you, and I'm hoping that you are inspired by what I've achieved and how far, God has brought me. But please, I'm not expecting you to be like me. What I'm expecting you to do is to be the best you, because you are uniquely created for a certain purpose. You've got to identify that purpose. And you identify it by looking at your passions, your natural gifts, your talents, your skills. And finding your purpose and meaning in life is a journey. And I'm still on that journey, really. I know right now that my purpose is to glorify God in everything that I do. By accomplishing great things for Him, excelling in whatever I do. I am, it's being fine-tuned, and the details are being revealed every time. It's a journey, So don't be hard on yourself. Don't give up. Just realize that your purpose is unique. And once you are diligent in everything that is assigned to you, that purpose will be uncovered. And also, challenges and difficulties do not mean that you are not in your purpose, because sometimes they actually open the door to your next level, and they step you right into your destiny and your purpose.
Wow. Thank you so much for the words.
And about what I want to be known for. Actually, I want to be known for, I believe that God has a place in business. A lot of people separate God and business. And people think God and business don't mix, God and work don't mix. When you come to work, it's only church, Sunday. No. For me, I'm a person of faith, and my faith is integrated with my work.
It goes everywhere with you.
It goes everywhere with me. You have to identify me by my faith, and hold me accountable, to what I espouse, and so I want to be known as that bold business leader who lived her faith in, the business environment and demonstrated it through service, humility, loving people, and excellence.
Thank you so much. Truly inspiring story, and very, very, very inspiring words as well. Thank you so much. I think your time spent with us has been very impactful. I mean, you've let us know, like, we know who you are now, deep inside. I mean, you've shared with us every bit of that, and we appreciate that on behalf of GMA, YFM, the Why Leaderboard series, the Mid-Morning Radio Show, all our listeners, our viewers on Facebook, everyone would like to say thank you so much. Thank you so much for spending time with us. I know it's not easy to, spend time with you like this. We took like a whole 2 hours with you.
Really?
And so thank you so much.
Have
Yes,
you been here this
it's
long?
been 2 hours. And big ups going out to the team, Cynthia and Co. I mean, these guys have been super helpful.
Yeah. No, but you guys are doing a great job here.
Thank you
well
so
done.
much. Thank you so much. And
well done.
shouts going out to Hollard.
Yeah.
Group
Shout
as well.
out to
they're
Hollard
family members,
guys.
yes.
Yeah.
All of us.
Yeah. And everyone out there. My sister, I saw my sister, my cousins, my brothers were all there. And I'm so happy for your support. Thank you.
Have a wonderful day.
You too.
All right. Guys, this has been an interesting curve. 11:45 Why Leaderboard series done and dusted. I'm staring at a very beautiful portrait of Patience Achiano, Group CEO, Hollard Ghana. We got more coming up right here on the show.
Every picture is a memory. It is a memory of a moment full of smiles and joy, certainly worth remembering. With memories on my wall, we preserve these moments in beautiful canvases and frames, reliving that moment every single day. Every picture is a triumph, a feeling, a connection, and a moment worth reliving. Wallet. This is not just a picture, it's your perfect gift idea. Contact us today and enjoy the Mo experience.
This is YFM.